Good morning. I'm going to do a segment here on turning cartridge case necks. I've been turning cartridge case necks for about 42 years. I've developed techniques that I feel work better than perhaps anything else to turn case necks. I'm going to show you the case neck turner here. This has got a pilot of a certain size. This is an aluminum frame. This is a steel pilot turned a certain size to fit the inside of the, just slip inside of the case neck. And there's a cutter here that does the cutting. This pilot has a shoulder, so that the case mouth shoulders up on the shoulder here on this pilot. This is this large screw here for locking the cutter down. This is a screw for advancing the cutter. There's a screw set in here, a set screw set in here to lock the pilot in place. Now, to be able to start doing things, we take a cartridge case, slip it on this mandrel. Slip it on this mandrel. I've already set this cutter somewhat so it'll start cutting a cartridge case. Now we're going to go from what I'm describing here, we're going to go to turning a case neck. Early on, I turned everything by hand. This becomes quite a tedious situation. It's much easier to put the cartridge case lightly gripped in the jaw of the lathe chuck. So we're going to turn on the, and I've got this moving quite slowly. We simply put the pilot in the case, and we start turning the case. Turn just a little bit off that case. Now, we set this pilot down. We take the case and we mic the wall thickness with a tubing mic. This is a tubing mic. You see here, this slips in the inside of the case neck. It measures the wall thickness of the cartridge case on the neck. Right now, I'm measuring the wall thickness of the cartridge case. It's 11 thousandths wall thickness. This happens to be a 6mm PPC. I need to turn a thousandths per side off of this cartridge case neck to get exactly what I want, because I want exactly 10 thousandths wall thickness so that it properly fits the chamber of the rifle. And this specific rifle is chambered with a chamber that there is only 2 10 thousandths of an inch difference between the loaded round with the bullet in the case, measuring it, and when you fire the round and measure that expanded case neck, it's only going to enlarge 2 10 thousandths of an inch. This is a tightly fitted chamber for 6 PPC for ultimate accuracy. This is how I've built all my 6mm PPCs over the years, and they're all one holers. So right now we need to advance this cutter a small amount to get another thousandth off the wall of the case. Only takes just a tiny amount. Now we try it again. Turning more material off of this case neck. Makes things very uniform. And yeah, you probably see just a little bit of wobble in the case. Doesn't make any difference. What we're doing here is this pilot is following the inside of the case neck and giving you a wall thickness that is absolutely concentric all the way around. Just that little bit of movement, adjustment in that case neck turner. Gave me a half a thousandths more. I've got to go another half of a thousandths. It's just a skosh. It doesn't take much. Run it up and down this case neck a couple of times. Wipe off the few little chips. Take the case neck micrometer and measure this wall thickness. I do it in several spots around it. It's absolutely 10 thousandths right now. It's exactly what I want. So it's very, very simple. One of the main things that you need to pay attention to when you're turning cases is where the cutter stops. You don't want to stop too soon, because what's going to happen when this case expands in the chamber, it's going to form what they call the dreaded donut on the inside of the case neck mouth, right at the neck shoulder juncture. You don't want that, because that's going to create an extra amount of grip on the bullet. What that is, it's a little smaller diameter right there, and if you run that cutter up far enough up so it just starts to cutting the shoulder, that should eliminate things. One of the best ways to check this is, once you've done this, is to fire that case, load your round, fire the case in your rifle chamber, and take a case neck brush and brush the case mouth. Take a bullet. I put a bullet up in a bullet puller collet. I leave the bullet sticking out about, little over a quarter, 5/16 of an inch. That is holding the bullet gripped in that bullet puller for pulling bullets out of loaded rounds. Run that empty case up on that bullet. Take your regular 1-inch micrometer and measure the OD of that round, and see that everything is absolutely correct. We've measured it. We measured the wall thickness here, but we need to measure the loaded round dimension to make sure that it's absolutely correct. And this is going to vary depending on the diameter of bullets. You need to adjust this. This is adjusted for bullets that measure exactly 243 diameter. Not 243 3/10, 243 1/2, but 243 diameter. Because if it's any different, it's not going to fit in the chamber, because there's only 2 10,000ths of an inch difference between the loaded round and the chamber size. This is a tightly fitted chamber for this particular aspect for top accuracy, and I've determined that this is what works the best. Factory ammunition, as a rule, between a loaded round and a fired round, there's about 4 or 5 thousandths difference, maybe a little more difference. That's a lot. We have to have that in normal working hunting type rifles. But in a bench rest situation where we can control absolutely everything, right down to the last, 20 millionths of an inch, we're only working with 2 10,000ths here. So, we've got to have things that are absolutely perfect. When you seat that bullet in that case, in that empty case that I'm talking about, if you feel a resistance, like it's hitting kind of a resistance, you've got the dreaded donut on the inside of the case neck. That's not what you want. That means that you need, that case neck turner needs to go up on that case just a little bit further to eliminate that. And once you run that bullet all the way up on that case all the way up on the bullet, that irons out that dreaded donut on the inside of the case, pushes it to the outside of the case. You adjust your case neck turner so that you turn that donut off the outside of the case neck, because now you've transferred it from inside to outside by running it up on the bullet. with your case neck turner, adjust it a little bit so it cuts a little bit further up. It'll cut that dreaded donut off the periphery of the neck at the neck-shoulder junction. This is the proper way to turn necks. Now I'm going to go even further here and explain some of these situations. I don't suggest turning necks for a normal dimension chamber. Let's say that we're shooting a 243 Winchester, and we've got 5 thousandths of clearance between a loaded round and a fired case. Well, that's quite a bit of dimension. Now, if we had a chamber that was cut specifically with only, say, 2 thousandths or maybe 3 thousandths, now we've got room to turn a little bit of material off the OD of the case neck to uniform things. But folks, don't try to uniform cases in the already large dimension chamber, because all you're doing is creating a sloppy situation. You want to still maintain that about 4 to 5 thousandths clearance. And if you've got 5 thousandths of clearance, you sure as the world don't want to turn 1 or 2 thousandths off the case. Now you got 6 thousandths, you got 7 thousandths clearance. So you understand the picture here? This is what it's about. So I have specific reamers made for certain situations where we may have to turn a case neck. I've got reamers that are made specifically where it's a normal chamber made to, say, SAMI specifications, the diameters that's been set forth on various chambers. But irregardless, the normal clearances are somewhere at about 4 to 5 thousandths. And so, you know, I'll leave it at that. But this is a very, very specific chamber, probably one of the most accurate cartridges that's ever been developed. It's a 6mm PPC. I was involved when I worked at Spear Bullet Company making a pressure test barrel for the universal receiver to test pressures of that cartridge, and also made an accuracy rifle to test the accuracy of that cartridge. And you know, at that time, Ferris Pindle and Lou Palmisano, those guys were working hand in hand together because they were the developers of the 6mm PPC during the years that I was at Spear Bullet Company working as a tool and die maker. I was given this work because of my, you know, extensive area in building rifles and doing rifle chamber and barrel work. So from early on, I've been involved with this cartridge, and I've been very excited about the cartridge. Always. There's other cartridges that may give you the accuracy that cartridge will do, but I don't think there's anything better for shooting 100-yard, 200, 300-yard bench rest shooting than that particular cartridge, because the capacity of the case, the velocities, and the precision cartridge brass that's been made over the years, you know, and I've been involved with all that in all my rifle making years ever since that came out. Continue to build a few rifles for that particular chambering from time to time.